Namaskar, dear colleagues and friends, welcome to this Swayam Prabha live session. Today is the sixth day and the final day of the live session for this particular batch, that is the batch number 8. I am sure that you must have benefited from the last 5 live sessions. Of course, along with that, we have gone through a rich resource material which was available in Swayam platform, the units, the SLM content units, you have gone through it, and the various almost 30 plus videos on different themes of NEP 2020 by the renowned experts we loaded on the Swayam platform. I am sure you must have gone through that. Of course, through this Swayam Prabha live channels, you are further benefiting on various aspects of the NEP 2020. I am sure that this session also will have a very, very effective interaction on a very important theme of NEP 2020. I request you all to go through the session and then raise the questions related to the topic. Today's topic is NEP 2020 Institutional Development Plan. I think you must have heard it, IDP, Institutional Development Plan. I think quite a few institutions started formulating the plan. Not all the institutions doing it, but before that, you should understand what are the key objectives of the IDP, what constitutes the IDP, how to formulate the IDP, what are the basic features of IDP. I think this is what we will be focusing today. For this, we have a very senior colleague, Professor Ramachandran sir with us. He is not feeling well, but he has committed to us, so naturally he reached us to interact with you. I will not take more time except 2 words. He is a very senior advisor in the National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration at the moment. Before that, he held a very important position at the national and international levels. He was associated with the African Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, and then he was associated with UNICEF activities for a long time within India and outside India. I think that's a rich experience he had. Of course, before that, he retired as a professor of NCERT. You all know that, National Council of Education Research and Training. And then after that, along with these roles, he associated with the formulation of NEP 2020 in the deliberations and discussions. Naturally, he knows ins and outs of these deliberations and what finally has come out as NEP 2020. So naturally, the right person to talk about NEP 2020 Institutional Development Plan along with any other related issue will be through. Without taking much time, I welcome you, sir, on behalf of us and on behalf of all our colleagues. With this thing, once again, I welcome you, sir. Please.
Thank you, Professor Murthy. The topic needs a lot of time, but I have only 45 minutes. So I'll try to enunciate the basic principles underlying the Institutional Development Plan. One of the important recommendations of NEP 2020 is the development of an institutional plan by every institution to promote what is called institutional excellence. The term Institutional Development Plan means the development of a program and program for improvement of educational programs and practices, keeping in view the resources available, likely to be available, and also the felt needs of an educational institution. That's what we refer to the process of institutional development plan. The plan is the product of this process, which gives a roadmap for the development and improvement of the educational institution. So that is a simple meaning. What does an institutional plan depict normally? Number 1, what the institution should be like, say in a span of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and so on. That means, what is the vision of an education institution? Second is what you call, how do we reach these objectives, goals? what are the goals we should pursue? And third element is, how do we reach these goals and objectives? That means strategies. Then lastly, how do we assess the progress towards the institutional plan? Let me take one by one. The first step in institutional development plan is what we call setting up a vision. A vision means what the institution should be like in about 10 years' time. Should it be first 10 among the country's educational development, first 10 research-intensive university? It could be a goal. That is something we look at it. It's a vision. A center of excellence. It's a vision. Now, if you do this, then how do we reach this vision? If you want to be the first 10 or 20 institutions in the country, a research-intensive university, what shall we do? We must support research in emerging areas of interest. That is a strategy. Then we must create a pool of researchers. That's also a mission. So from mission, we move into what we call a vision. Vision to mission. Then we'll say, how do you attain this mission? What strategies should be pursued? There are several steps in this formulation of an institutional development plan. The first step is what we call situation analysis. What is the current status of the institution in terms of student enrollment, in terms of diversity among students, in terms of student completion rate, in terms of student progression, and so on. So you might say, the first task is expanding enrollment and student diversity. That comes through the situation analysis, where we are now and where we should be. That is the first part of an institutional development plan. Then we might say, how do we expand enrollment? As you are aware, the National Education Policy wants a gross enrollment ratio of 50% by 2030. Currently, we are about 27-28%. Can we enhance this to 50% during the next 10 years? In that case, your college and university also has to enhance enrollment. With the diversity, students from all states, if possible, students from all socio-economic language background, how we can enhance diversity. How do we do it? Number one, can we enhance what we call the intake of students within our university or college? To do this, if you have 40 students per session, can we make it 50? Without sacrificing the student-faculty ratio. If we increase, we may need more faculty as well. Don't compromise on faculty-student ratio, 1:40 and so on. Then, second, to enhance enrollment, we may have to start new programs. How many new programs should we start? If we have 20 programs now, can we make it 30 by 2030? New programs in new fields. These will help enhance the enrollment intake and enrollment in our institutions. This is done through a situation analysis, both within institution and outside. Like for instance, you will assess how many staff you have now, how many more you need. This will be a part. How many programs you have now, how we can increase the number of programs from 20 to 30 programs during next 10 years, and so on. Then, next question comes, if you have increased programs, how many courses we should increase? New courses may have to be started, and so on. This is done through a situation analysis of current financial availability, what is likely to be available during next 10 years, and so on. So this is what we call internal situation analysis. Then we undertake what we call analysis of external situation. Like for instance, NEP 2020 itself is an external variable. We have to adjust our programs to make it relevant to the NEP recommendations. This is an external variable. Second, now learning doesn't take place only through face-to-face or only online. A lot of learning can be taken place through a hybrid mode as we do now. This is an external environment analysis. How we can reduce the digital gap, the digital divide, if we want to pursue online learning. This is an analysis to be done. Next analysis is that technology use and integration. That was not the case 10 years ago. Now technology use in teaching learning process is emerging to be an important aspect. This is one. Another external use is the way technology progresses and the fast integration of technology in our day-to-day life for teaching learning purpose, and so on. The next external variable is what we call social context of education. How do we address or how do we honor student diversity? Many students at the postgraduate level are now first-generation learners. How can we meet the demands of the first-generation learners? By making personalized learning. by using technology to make it personalized, and so on. An important aspect is changing characteristics of learners. The kind of learners we have in the college, university, is not the kind we had 30 years ago. The current students are born and raised in a technology-rich environment. They know technology use much better than us. Like my granddaughter, who is only 8 years, can handle all kinds of technology. She looks at my mobile and says, "Grandpa, you don't have many apps." She says there are 13 apps you can use for teaching learning purpose. And she puts all those apps in my mobile. That's the kind of child we have. And these students who come to our college, they will use technologies which don't exist now. You don't know what will happen to a mobile phone in 5 years. We will use technologies which don't exist now. Third, many of our students will enter jobs which don't exist now. New jobs. Many existing jobs may disappear. In that place, new jobs will come. For instance, 2 years ago when I was in China, I found robots teaching. Then the faculty asked me, "Does it mean in future we don't need teachers? Robots will do." I said, "Not that. You will be the designer of the program transmitted by the robot. Your role from transmitter of knowledge changes into a designer." These are all external variables which attack our current scenario. Tremendous changes. So in institution development plan, therefore, we should look into some of these internal and external variables and decide where we want to be. The vision. We want to be, my college should be first 50 among the NIRF ranking. Then the mission for that, what we should do, that is the mission. Then how do we achieve this mission strategy? I gave one thing. Then once we do this, we formulate our goals. There may be 8 goals. Number 1, I mentioned already, expanding enrollment and diversifying student population in our college and university. This is a goal. Second goal is achieving student excellence. All our students should achieve excellence in learning and learning outcomes. What are these? One outcome is what we call learning gains, enhanced learning outcomes, achieving specified graduate attributes. Like I used to give an example, what could be the graduate attributes? I always give an example of an example from industrial and organizational psychology, which says something like this. Once in a company in the United States, a machine went out of order. The chief executive officer of the company called a few engineers. They could not find out what went wrong and how it can make again the machine functional. Then came an ordinary mechanic. The mechanic touched the machine at different places, and he found the problem was the machine was jammed a few places. He asked the CEO, "May I have a hammer?" He was given a hammer, and he hit the machine 3 places. The machine started functioning. He went back and sent a bill, payment bill, for $1,000. The company CEO said, "For hitting 3 times, you are charging $1,000, too much." He replied, "Sir, for hitting 3 times, I charge only $30, $10 per hit. $970 I charge to find out where exactly I should hit. Finding out where exactly to hit is more important for solving a real life problem." That means one of the attributes of a student now is a problem solver. All our students, by the time they complete undergraduate program, should be a problem solver in a real life situation. This is one attribute of a graduate. This is student excellence. Second, critical thinking. If you are a student of economics, can you analyze the budget proposals by central or state governments? Can we critically analyze that and say this budget is growth-oriented, this budget is job-oriented or not job-oriented, and so on? This is what we call critical thinking, critical analysis. Can we create critical thinkers through our studies? Third, can we create a creative thinker, an innovator? If you ask your students to prepare again the logo of your university or a college, you will get 100 logos. No single answer. You will get 100 logos according to their creativity. This is an example of what we call creative thinking. Then can we create team players? Can they work in teams? Can they complete group project? And so on. Ability to work in teams, that is a graduate attribute. Can we create skilled communicator who can communicate well in both oral and written form, who can listen to arguments very well, speak fluently? That is a graduate attribute. Then digitally skilled and literate. Every one of us ought to be digitally literate and skilled. Can we create this attribute amongst all our graduates? Ethical and moral reasoning. Can we explain our performance in terms of ethical and moral reasoning term? What are we doing? Is it ethically correct? We do sometimes plagiarism, prepare a report. When we analyze it ethically, we might say it is not good. We must pursue original thinking. Is it morally correct? We are doing something which destroys the environment. Environmental protection. How do you perceive it? That's an issue morally. Value-based thinking, it's a moral thing. So it is not only achieving A++ in our exams, but also what we do. Is it ethically and morally sound? These are all what we call graduate attributes. In addition to this, we also need students who has coherent understanding, knowledge and understanding of a disciplinary or interdisciplinary areas. Can they see the linkages between different areas of learning? If you are an economics student, what is the linkage between microeconomics, macroeconomics, econometrics, and so on? If you are a student of chemistry, what is the linkage between physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry, organic chemistry, pharmaceutical chemistry, and so on? This is one aspect of disciplinary or interdisciplinary area of learning. Second, we must have procedural knowledge. You are a student of chemistry. You want to be an assistant professor of chemistry. What knowledge it requires? You are a student of civil engineering. What knowledge you require to build a house, to build a bridge? This is what we call procedural knowledge. Third, skills required to practice the procedural knowledge. Can you have the skills to build a house, to build a bridge, and so on, to be an assistant professor, to be a scientist, to be an economist, and so on, the skill orientation. And lastly, whatever you have learned, can we apply that into a real-life situation to seek solutions to a real-life situation? So you have disciplinary, interdisciplinary knowledge. You also have what we call generic learning outcomes, graduate attributes like a problem solver, a critical thinker, a creative thinker, a skilled communicator, and so on. They are what we call generic learning outcomes. So when we say student excellence, it means a student who has gained in knowledge, who has gained in terms of generic learning outcomes, who has acquired and are capable of demonstrating these generic learning outcomes, and so on. This is what we mean by saying student excellence. The next element of that is, how many of our students can go for higher studies after undergraduate? How many go to master's program? How many go to PhD after completing master's, and so on? Next element is entry into jobs. Not just jobs, like an economist going to a clerical job is not sufficient. A student who acquired knowledge of economics, can she enter as an economist? Skilled jobs. Jobs for which they are trained for. These are all what we call student excellence. And we can do this through what we call a student survey. How many of them become trained economist. After getting trained in economics, how many of them become scientists in chemistry? After going through master's program in chemistry and so on. These are all student excellence. These are second excellence in an IDP. Third, what we call is academic excellence. What you and I teach, does it lead to academic excellence? And NEP says a few things. Curriculum renewal, to introduce what we call multidisciplinary education, not a single discipline education. For that, can we convert our institutions into a multidisciplinary institution? Can we do this in next 5 years? Can we do this next 10 years? That will be the point of reference for the institutional development plan. So, two important things. When I say multidisciplinary institution, you might say, my college is multidisciplinary because we have Department of Chemistry, Department of Physics, Department of Economics, and so on. Not enough. You become multidisciplinary when students can opt for courses across the sciences, across the arts, across the humanities, and so on. That means, can a student have major in physics and a minor in music, or a minor in a vocational program? This is what is meant by multidisciplinary. So first, try to convert your college into a multidisciplinary institution, and that must be specified in the IDP, by which year we will reach this goal. Then introduce multidisciplinary undergraduate program. Today the UGC has released the 4-year undergraduate program, framework and credit framework. 20 credits per semester, a 4-year program with multiple exit and re-entry options. Can we provide this in our college? After first year, if somebody leaves due to some reasons, the person is given a certificate. If a student leaves after 2 years, she is given a diploma. After 3 years, she is given a bachelor degree. And if she continues 4th year and complete 4th year with additional courses and research, that person gets a BA BSc honors or BA BSc honors with research if you complete a dissertation in the 4th year. And that person needs only 1-year master's program. If the student does a good job of research, student can also join directly to PhD. No need of master's. It all depends upon the research programs we pursued. This is one aspect of academic excellence. The second aspect is what we call teaching excellence. Can we ensure that all faculty display excellence in teaching. Good teachers, well-trained, well-qualified teachers ensure that all students are trained, taught by well-qualified, well-trained, well-motivated, well-empowered teachers, faculty. This is teaching excellence. Next, excellence in assessment. Can we assess problem solving ability? Can we assess critical thinking ability? And not just knowledge and understanding of a subject area. So massive examination reform is required through our institutional development plan. This is the third element. Fourth aspect of fourth goal of the IDP is to ensure faculty excellence. How do we make sure that our faculty display excellence in all aspects? Well-trained, well-qualified. Next, fifth, achieving excellence in research and scholarship by the faculty, by the institution. That means everyone does socially relevant and also fundamental research to expand the knowledge base through the creation of new knowledge and achieve excellence in research and scholarship. And through that, we achieve what we call innovations. This is another aspect of IDP. Next important aspect is staff excellence. We have a large number of non-teaching staff in our college and university. How do we ensure staff excellence? This should be a part of our IDP. What we do in 5 years, what we do in 10 years, and so on. Next, can we promote international experience? Can we facilitate international experience? Then more important is excellence in governance, leadership, and management. A leader is one who normally prepares a vision of the institution, creates a direction for its development. A manager is one who implements the program following rules and regulations, and through that, the vision is achieved. Governance means the board of governance, how effective it is, how does the academic council function, how does the board of management function. So achieving excellence in governance, leadership, and management, a very important aspect of IDP. These are the 8 aspects of an IDP. Number 1, expanding enrollment, intake, and diversifying student community. Number 2, student excellence. Number 3, academic excellence. Number 4, faculty excellence. Number 5, achieving excellence in research and scholarship. Number 6, staff excellence. Number 7, excellence in terms of international exposure of both students and faculty exchange programs, and so on. And number 8, excellence in governance, leadership, and management. Our IDP should indicate these areas. These are also in tune with what you call the NAC accreditation formula, that academic excellence. How are we implementing the NEP recommendations in terms of establishment of multidisciplinary institutions or interdisciplinary? Last time during my discussion, I explained the difference between multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary. Since the group is new, I'll repeat that. Multidisciplinary is something like the salad you and I eat. In a salad, we eat cucumber, we eat tomato, we eat capsicum, and so on. They retain their identity, but together they give the taste of what you call a salad. That is the multidisciplinary. You may have a multidisciplinary team from physics, computer science, economics to design a financial model. But they retain the spirit, but together they create what you call a financial model. So that is an example of multidisciplinary. Interdisciplinary, I give example normally. Something like our dal tadka or sambar. The gravy of a sambar, you can't distinguish between the ingredients. They gel together and create a taste. So in interdisciplinary studies, we do the same thing. Like Bachelor of Business Administration, it is interdisciplinary. Many areas gel together and create a marketing executive. Women's studies is a statistics, sociology, psychology, all together make what you call women's studies. That is interdisciplinary. Transdisciplinary, I normally example, borrowed from two others, Park and Cho. It is something like a cake. When you see a cake, you can't distinguish between the ingredients at all. They all join together and give the taste of a cake. They all join together disciplines and solve a complex problem. A complex problem related to or involving many disciplinary areas. That is transdisciplinary studies. So therefore, the policy does talk about multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary studies and so on. Can we ensure that we introduce a multidisciplinary studies through a major 60 credits program, deep study, minor 24 credits, multidisciplinary areas? Can we also have vocational program, internship, field-based learning, community engagement and service, so that the program becomes experiential, more practice-oriented? How do you go about it? Some direction must be given by the institutional development plan. These are some of the goals. Then from the goals we derive what you call specific objectives. I want to increase the enrollment in our college by 25% by 25-26, by 50% by 2029-30, very specific, increase by 25% by 25 or 26, 30% or 50% by 2030, and so on. These are specific objectives. Increase the number of programs to make it multidisciplinary by 5% within 2 years, 10%, 25-26, 50% by 2030-35. These are what you call specific objectives. The number of faculty who underwent orientation and refresher courses increased by 50% by 25-26, 100% by 2030. Clear-cut, observable, measurable targets. This is the next level, specific objectives. Then to reach objectives, what strategy should be used? Like starting new programs, enhancing intake, introducing multidisciplinary program, creating new departments of music, arts, and so on, if you don't have one. When shall we do it? That is again the important aspect. So like that, the institutional development plan will have specific, measurable, and observable targets. Then we can monitor that carefully. How we are progressing towards achieving expanded enrollment, enhancing student diversity, achieving student excellence, achieving academic excellence, achieving faculty excellence, achieving faculty excellence, achieving international exposure for both student and faculty, achieving research and scholarship, achieving excellence in governance, leadership, and management. This will be a summary part of it. I'll stop at this stage. I will invite questions from you now.
Thank you, sir.